I've seen you all. Fantastic. Oh, and Vita's still with us. Oh, I'm excited. God, we're happy to see you, and Vita. You are a light to us. You
So
amazing.
happy to be back. I've had busy Friday mornings the last couple of months.
Look, we've missed you. We had some of our colleagues that just this is the peak bit of Friday, I know. So we're thrilled to see everybody. Oh, it's exciting. Lorraine's back with the hat. She's sparing us from the green hat, which is my personal favorite. Wouldn't that be fun during Right Club? Fantastic. Oh, we're winning. Right. So beautiful. Kirsty's in. Paul is back. Oh, fantastic. I'm getting a bit of script. Do I go Genoa? How am I going with Genoa? Am I doing wrong on reading the script? My apologies. Whoever is at the base, I'm thrilled. And Nor's in. Nor, we're so thrilled to see you. How are you, my darling?
I'm good, Tara. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Now
wonderful.
I can write again because of you, because your support. Thank you, Sal.
You are so precious to us. And of course, the lovely crew are in. So, team, let's do this. And by the way, as you know, Right Club will be continuing through Christmas. We will be coming in every day to help you. And if it's just Jamie and I and the four pinata of the zombie apocalypse, then we will continue doing so. But we will write with you through this period. So, colleagues, let us continue. 29 minutes. You're on. See you on the other side. Good luck. Change the world, Paul. Come on, Paul. Change the world. Legendary.
Where's my...
Last minute, colleagues. And colleagues, we are done. Oh. Oh. Look at everybody's face. Oh. Shelley, I'm going to start with you because you look like someone's hit you in the face. Good morning, Shelley. How was your Right Club experience, Shell?
Yeah, very good. Did you say I look like someone hit me in the face?
Yes, you did. You had that sort of stunned face, like.
Oh yeah. I'm at a transitional point. So I've sort of just been in another like little workspace and I'm just been brainstorming
Good.
things that are like the critical elements of where I'm at and where I'm going. And I've just been putting them on little cards, but I've got some readings in front of me. And it was just kind of really challenging me in terms of what do I recall or what does this mean? And just thinking about what are the implications. So probably not aware of what was happening.
Look, me neither. I kept on looking at you going, Shell is looking exactly how I feel. It's like, whoa.
It's hurting. It's hurting post-COVID brain. It's hurting.
Yeah, look, it is sort of, there was a pain. There was like, ooh. You could see it was like it was digging into the brain there, Shell. You legendary human. Should we go with your BFF to the legendary Nor? Nor, my darling, how are you going? You look just gorgeous and glamorous, whereas Shell and I do look like we've been hit about the head and neck. So what were you writing, beautiful Nor?
Thank you, Tara. So I would like to move on from my proposal because I think I'm finishing with my proposal. Now I move on to make a research instrument. So because I will do a grounded research theory, so I would like to prepare my instrument for my FGDs and my in-depth interview. So it makes motivation for me to move on to the next stage, because if I'm too much on my COC proposal, it makes me messy. So I think I have to do this, and I think I'm prepared for this next stage.
I think that's
So yeah,
brilliant. I will be reading one certain COC on the weekend too. So I'm
please.
looking forward to that. I'm so excited.
Yes, I have sent it to you. Yes, last week. Yes.
I'm sorry I missed it. No, I was excited. I
No,
was getting
it's
ready for the
okay.
weekend to read it, my darling. I'm thrilled. So you move on, darling.
Yes, and I will join with your class every day during Christmas and New Year because I'm staying in Darwin now. I decide and I have talked to my family that I prioritize my PhD and they are supporting me, and that's why it's okay. You focusing on that and I'm in a good hand with Tara and I said that.
My darling, well, one of the reasons deans do decide to work through Christmas and New Year and the multiple festivities and holidays of this time for faiths around the world is because so many students do treat this as the period where they're working hard and their family are sacrificing. So it would seem terrible to me, my darling, if I was having a nice time
Oh, you're so kind.
in Western Australia, having a bit of a Chardonnay with my 95-year-old father, that would not feel very good, noting that you and Shelley are working. So together we will work.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Oh, darling, you're very precious, and we'll get this through for you, my darling. I'm so
Yes,
excited.
thank you so much. You are
And-
the champion, Tara.
Oh,
Thank you.
you are the champion. I'm going to be playing that song for the rest of the day. You're going to be stuck in that Hyundai with me playing Queen. Just deal with that. Thank you for that excitement. It should have said the face I got. Really, Queen? Thank you, Nor. To the
Thank you.
legendary Kirsty. Nothing wrong with Queen. To the legendary Kirsty and her lifestyle location. Oh, Kirsty, you've been frantic. Conferences and everything. So how are you settling? What are you working on now, Queen Kirsty?
I'm actually working on, so I had an idea of how I thought my articles were going to go, and now I've changed my idea because I've started to analyze the youth data because I've got climate change community data and youth data, and I'm finding there's some really important links there with trustworthiness and who people would like, how they would prefer to hear their messages. So I've got a meeting with my principal supervisor next week. So I'm just sort of pulling together my idea in a way to be able to present it so that, yeah, I sound really smart about it. So, yeah. But yeah, so I'm a little bit excited when, you know, the more that you sort of dig and what's coming out, but that whole people want to hear things from people like them is just so strong through all of it. And it's so very important. And it just seems so common sense, but why are we missing it? So yeah, I'm sort of digging in through that way.
Kirsty,
Yeah.
I'm so excited. And obviously, I'm going to go to Lorraine next because I know she's been doing work on trust. So, but Kirsty, can I just raise one, because I'm a stroppy old goss, could I just raise a countervailing argument?
Yeah.
I do worry about homology. So the notion that we can only learn from and trust and care for people like us. Because I think the us thing creates the rebounding chamber. It can, you know, then create sort of racism and homophobia and ageism and sexism and all the isms, because there's the notion that the person who is like us has expertise and someone who is not like us, you know, is sort of foreign and a problem and on the hierarchy of intelligence. Could I just raise that as a countervailing argument?
And that's actually coming up as well. So especially with the youth, they're very strong on scientists are held in very high regard, and so are climate groups. But who they feel most comfortable getting their messages from are people from their community and people with similar values. And yeah, so it's really interesting to look at that. And, you know, so how are we reaching them, as well as how can communicators who feel that there should be more varied communicators and not the white guy going into the developing country telling them what to do about their own climate issues. So how can we be balancing that and sending those messages? So that's what I'm sort of really, you know, trying to get to the bottom of with all this data. And yeah, so it is very, and so your point is extremely valid in all that because of what's coming back.
Well, we'll talk. I agree, Kirsty. We'll talk the Lorraine. I could talk about this all day, but also, of course, Paul and I know one of the challenges from our media work is the last thing in it, because what happens is through the algorithm is all of us end up talking with people just like ourselves, and we all agree. And then stuff like Brexit and Trump and the Australian referendum happens because we're talking to people just like us, and then we realise most of the people don't think like us. And then we're sort of disgusted, and it's like, how about we get rid of the disgust and we open the bloody ears up and we listen to humans different from us? Yeah? I don't know, but Lorraine, you're the expert on this. You've just written work on this, haven't you?
I wouldn't say expert. So my chapter is subject to my supervisors obviously having a bit of a squiz over and seeing the gaps if I've missed any particular areas. So I think what I love about this whole process is the learning journey that you actually go on. So you have a base understanding of trust and what you think that means. But then when you really delve into the data that you've got and you start exploring different avenues, it takes you down all these pathways, which is just, yeah, blows my mind. So I came across neuroception from polyvagal theory. And the thinking about the film The Bourne Identity, where Matt Damon's in a bar and he says, you know, he's got amnesia. I don't know how I know, but I know all the safeties, the sort of exits and this and that. So that played nicely into, you know, a couple of paragraphs for me. So it's not necessarily the area, but I think listening to one of Tara's blogs previously also include what you are not going to be covering. So I've actually included that I'm not going in depth about the biology, but however, I think it's important that we highlight that I think this neuroception is an aspect that there's that not that conscious awareness, but why do so, and symbolism. So the particular cohort that I'm looking at, there's a particular clothing that identifies another member, and even though they don't know them, the trust is there 100% because they understand the history of how that came about, that they're allowed to wear that. So just fascinating stuff to, yeah, I'm still learning.
Oh, you two, I've learned so much from you both this morning. And of course, Paul, in the old days, obviously I'm 27,000 years older than you, but in the old days, there was a great literature around cultural literacy between 2000, say 2007, 2008. Obviously the global financial crisis destroyed all sort of notion of like and unlike people talking with each other to create a good consensus. But Paul, where are you on this? Because obviously in our sort of field, the last thing you need is people who are like each other, talking like each other, because you end up with fascism.
Yeah, and I put in the chat, weirdly, for 30 minutes I'm going to be talking on a podcast with another set of academics around the discussion of generative AI. In that, my position for Gen AI is, are we treating it in a way of homology? Because obviously we input into it what we know from information literacy, we put into it what we know. So by doing that, are we only generating information that sits within our sphere and we're not actually researching and expanding information? So that's part of what I'm talking about with Gen AI, and where I'm going with it is kind of, I see ChatGPT as a short-term virus that will play itself out slightly in what we know now, because of course, after a while, Gen AI and ChatGPT will start referencing itself. And so it will reference false material. And so it will, and I'm looking at it from a creative's point of view, in that creatives are worried that this kind of thing, and it speaks to a homological point of view, in that will it remove creative jobs? And actually, you need to be human to be creative, but also you need to be human to input into things like AI. So it's an interesting, weirdly, that I'm looking at it from a very different point of view. But yeah, I think this idea of, we can only bring our experience, and then our output can only be generated upon that experience, is an interesting concept. So that's kind of where I'm looking, weirdly.
Oh, Paul, you need to publish this immediately. And the University of Google, that was the argument I put, that you can only know what you know because you're putting words that you know in the search engine. So
yeah, and that was my stimulus for what I'm talking about, in that now what we've got instead of a search engine is we're trying to use ChatGPT to write for us. But if we can only put in what we know, it's not going to generate anything that's different or useful at this stage. And for creatives, that's very much in the position we're at, where culture is moving quicker than algorithms can keep up. So it's always on the back foot. It's always reactive, not in front. So it's very much on a, that homology's point of view, in that actually it's not generating new information quick enough. And I think I see it as like a pandemic, in that it's got to mutate to be useful at some point. And so I'm talking about it with educational developers and technologists, in that I don't think we need to be concerned at this stage. We need to look at where it's going to regenerate and remutate to and be useful at that stage.
This is brilliant. And Paul, you're legendary. Obviously, I'm doing a series of book covers at this point, and I do have some graphic design expertise. But every now and again, I try and do the shortcut. You know, I try and go into the sort of the AI and develop a book cover. But the problem is, because I'm obsessed by zombies, whatever search parameters I put in, I add zombies. And I end up with strangely similar covers, Paul. So no matter what topic I'm looking at, you know, about PhD, doctoral education, about late capitalism, I end up with zombies in the picture, Paul. I don't know why.
It's because you're putting in what you know. You're not expanding your area. You're not researching.
No, I'm searching for zombies just like me. Paul, can you please get that published ASAP, mate? Even if you get it in a podcast with a URL, I'd love to cite that.
Sure. No, yeah, I need to think about it more, and I'm getting some bits together, and Stephen Fry's done some interesting theological positions on generative AI that I'm going to try and put in from a creative's point of view. But yeah, we'll see how it comes together. But I quite like, in that 30 minutes is where I put the link, and I was writing post-it notes and stuck on my computer around homology and its the self-servingness of it, and then you were talking about it, and that was an interesting link to suddenly cover.
So the three of you are meant to have this moment. Unbelievable. I feel a lot smarter. I don't know about anybody else. I've listened to Kirsty, Lorraine and Paul. I feel fantastic. I'm about to feel even better. Queen Bree, good morning just for you, I think, still in the eastern states of Australia. How are you going, my darling? What were you writing on, gorgeous?
Good morning. I haven't been here for a few weeks. I've put the zine thing to one side. But I am potentially developing a zine thesis.
Very interesting.
To do instead of sonic thesis.
Like that. So artifact exegesis, darling. So the zines will be the artifacts.
Exactly. That's right. Yes. So we have the Sticky Institute in Melbourne, and there's a zine fair coming up in February that we'll be either attending or have a stall there. We haven't decided yet. And I'm wondering, Tara, you said you're interested in zines. Have you done a zine before?
No, I haven't. But my late husband, and obviously my current husband is sitting next to me. My late husband, Bree, if you put Steve Redhead and fanzines in, he was the scholar of fanzines. So if you go to
fanzines, okay.
So if you go to academia.edu, you'll see one of his pieces there freely available. I think it's had about 300,000 downloads on e.g. marginalized literatures through zines.
Fanzine, so it's a whole culture I'm realizing and learning, and it's amazing, and I'm loving being engaged in that space. Yeah, that's one of our guinea pigs.
I know.
This morning, what I did write was actually I clicked on a link from you, Tara, and I've written a little piece that I'm going to submit to Thinking Ink Press. It's sci-fi. I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. I don't think we're going to die by, what is it, 2029? Is that what you said in the last?
Yeah.
Not yet.
No, look, just get me started any day. I'm not sure I'm going to make the day, Bree. But Bree, you're legendary. So, Paul, what I do with our wonderful students at CDU is I send them a Friday email. And of course, we've got great diversity of disciplines. But I send all sorts of little links where they can get $50 for this article, or, you know, for this bit of nonfiction. If you're working in the sciences, write this. And a lot of our crew are having a good go. So suddenly in these American magazines, there's going to be all these students from Darwin. I'm just funny. I'm just thrilled. Oh, Bree, that's tremendous, darling. We're so proud of you. Well done, you.
Thank you.
Oh, you star. And should we go to the legendary Sanji? He's on the call. It's the first time we've all been in the same city. How are you going, mate? So tell us about your week, and what did you write on this week, mate?
Oh, hello. I'm sorry. I've been in a tough situation. I have to. I was a bit confused because, and now I just revised title of my thesis.
Yes.
I'm just trying to shift the way how I'm looking at my data, and I run all of the statistics again and just look at all of the data, what's going on, because now I'm just looking at in different way. Because
Yes.
I've already collected raw data, and it depends on me how I'm just reporting that data. Before that, before changing my supervisors, my previous supervisor, he just emphasized on reporting data. But now I'm just thinking about a way how I want to just report this data. I mean,
Yes.
I would like to highlight the limitations in the methodology in
Yes.
sports science.
Yes.
Now I changed the topic to exploring snatch barbell kinematics.
Yes.
I'm just using the Australian weightlifters as an example. Now I'm just putting a comprehensive analysis of key features in performance of Australian weightlifters. It means that rather than just focusing on reporting data, I'm focusing on the methodology in analyzing the weightlifting movements. And then I'm using Australian weightlifters as an example, because now I'm introducing new variables. I'm and even I'm using the statistics which are not common in the sports science.
Yes.
And then I'm going to be able to talk about all of these limitations, and I'm going to just come up with the like some new reports. I know maybe they are new or maybe not, but I'm not sure. But
Well, Sanjay, I tell you what, we'll have a go. You've got both of us here now. You can see the very attractive man in this direction, and I'll grab his head. So, Sanjay, what we'll do, mate, is when you're ready for me to have a look at the thesis again, when you're comfortable at that stage, I'll read the whole thing again. And because I live with a physicist who has pretty good grasp of the shaping of data sets, are you happy if he has a look as our research assistant to just see how that shaping's going? Let's do it. Let's do it before Christmas.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I just need to spend more time on just finishing this draft, because I'm combining all of the files, because there are too many ways to report this data. I just captured the raw data, and there are too many ways. And now I have other options using another statistical methods. But I'm a bit confused, but I know what I'm looking for. But sometimes I say that, okay, it's too much.
Yeah, mate, let's have a meeting next week, okay? You're doing incredibly well. Keep struggling through the challenge, but then let's stop the struggling through the challenge and have a chat next Monday. How about that?
That's amazing.
Let's do that.
That's amazing.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Look,
okay, see you next Monday.
Yeah,
see you
I'll
next
look it up.
Monday.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of her. And look, I tell you what, Sanjay, get a great deal of inspiration from the legendary Anvita, who I'll touch base with. Good morning, my queen. Anvita was in a dark place. Was in a dark place for some weeks. So what are you writing on now in your happy place, Anvita?
I've just started writing the introduction to what is going to be my final study for my thesis. So it's really interesting, and I'm so happy that I finally got the data for it, because I really want to do this. So yeah, so I'm going to be investigating the complications of preterm birth that occur specifically among First Nations babies in Queensland, Australia. That's what I'm focusing on, because a lot of the studies that have been conducted are from Scandinavian countries or from the UK and the US, which may not be exactly what our First Nations communities within Australia might be experiencing. And there is no specific disease set which has been identified among babies over here. So not really sure whether it's going to be very different or exactly the same, but I'm curious to see what patterns actually emerge, because then we can address the needs specifically of First Nations babies who are being born preterm, and not really be reliant on data which is coming from other countries.
Oh, I'm so
that's what I'm looking at too.
We've all just gone. This is why we know you, Anvita. We're your friend. You're our popular friend. You're changing the world. We talk about research changing the world. You're changing the world. You keep trucking, girlfriend. You keep.
really trucking along. I really want to get this done by mid of next year, Tara. So
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you, Angel. Every step of the way we walk together. And look, the other truly inspirational bit of my heart that has joined this gig is Queen Edith. We love Edith more than life. I can't tell you how much Edith has added to my life since I met her. Good morning, my queen. What were you writing on Light in the Darkness?
Good morning, everyone. So apologies I haven't been able to attend over the last couple of weeks. And I think that that's partly what I've been writing about. So my research stems from my clinical work, which is really important to me. And I do research because I'm trying to advance improving outcomes. And what I was writing about today is actually, someone else mentioned it already, but it's writing about what I'm not going to include in my thesis, because there is so much that's relevant and so much that the translation or research is difficult. There are barriers, and I probably can't put it all into the thesis, but I feel it needs to be put down so that it's not seen as an omission, rather than a conscious, this cannot be done in this piece of work.
I love you for doing this. The best theses do this, Edith, because they simply say to the examiner, this is what I'm doing. This is the work I'm doing now. This is what I'm not doing. It could be future work, but you're not doing it through ignorance. So you're not excluding through, you know, there's a Toyota Tarago over there, and I'm not mentioning it because I haven't seen it. It's like you're going, I am sitting in a Volvo. There is a Toyota Tarago over there. I acknowledge the Tarago, but I'm in the Volvo, right? And that's brilliant. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. And you, Edith. You're the best one. Our legendary Adrian is back. Adrian, do you want to just touch base with us, brother? We're so happy to have you back. So how are you processing your journey, and what were you writing on to try and control that, Adrian?
Yeah, to be honest, I've been a little bit all over the place because, yeah, my time in Samoa kind of forced me to rethink everything and reconceptualize my research as what they call in Samoa tautua, which is service. And so it's looking at research as service, or as a relational construct, and kind of really kind of seeing how the research is actually serving the people of Samoa. And yeah, so kind of jumping between that and my methodology, and looking at rejigging the whole thing to try and fit in this idea of service. And yeah, so yeah, touching back on to some of that ontological stuff that I was looking at before I headed over to Samoa, and that I brought up in our conversation. So anyway, it's getting there, but I'm so glad to be able to meet with you guys again, because yeah, I'm just literally on this atoll in the middle of nowhere.
Well, we're with you on that atoll always. Tautua, I'm going to do some work on that on the weekend, Adrian. I think the notion of research as service, my brain has just changed. And you're amazing. And I'll quickly go to Mary and then finish with our finisher. But Mary, that's powerful in terms of Indigenous post-colonial research too. Research as service.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's part of what drives me. Is I want to do research that's useful for Indigenous people, not on Indigenous people to better myself. It needs to be useful. That is a big criteria for me with my research.
Oh, that's amazing. And how are you going? How was this week for you? Are you writing well, Mary? Are the words coming?
I'm not doing a lot of writing at the moment because I'm doing an internship, but I do get 2 weeks off, and I have a big plan for doing a lot of writing and research in those 2 weeks. I've got a number of things I need to do. So, yes.
You are brilliant. Oh, Mary, we're thrilled with you. You're astonishing. And we finish with the finisher. Now, Dina sent me an email this morning that I'm going to read. I think I've got a literature review to read on the weekend, if I read the email correctly this morning, Queen Dina. Are you okay? So tell us what you're writing on, and let's bring this home, girlfriend.
So I'm doing the last bit, the last chapter, the conclusion. So hopefully I'm there. So the discussion about homonology, is it?
Homology, yes.
Yeah. So Tara, when I participate in the Right Club because my application for extension for my thesis was denied, so I had to enroll in this class. So I could continue to do my thesis. And the first outrider that I saw from you is about Gramsci, and I was thinking to myself, this is so daunting. I will never ever have an experience like Gramsci. My thesis is nothing, and I felt that how would I ever finish this thesis? But then, as I reflect on my journey, particularly in my literature review, I had this aha moment because as a practitioner in disaster management, we always we tend to see that the assistance that the Western countries give us is a top-notch advice. But then when I investigated literature about resilience, I came to this one literature that said that what is dominating now in the current world is the Anglo-Saxon view about resilience. So this is influenced by American and UK on how they implement their development program in the underdeveloped countries, and it is characteristic by three things. If you want to be resilient, it should be top down program. It should have innovation, and it should be adaptive. So it will change. You have to change from your original status, because changing seems to be better from that point of view. But then there were opinions contesting that view and saying, no, we have to make it local. Resilience is about local capacity, not what other people outsider are giving us. And the examples are astounding, like from Australia, from Australia, the Aboriginal in Mukur and in Arnhem, they said that their resilience are weakened because they are now depending on the government program. But then they are a strong community that has been living with disaster all these years. But now they see themselves as depending from the government paycheck, and this is weakening them. And the theory around innovation and adaptation, sometimes in Indonesia, we receive billions of assistance to install high-tech advanced like tsunami early warnings, but it failed because the people didn't know how to operate and didn't know how to maintain it. So they failed in Palu earthquake, where 1,000 died. They failed in Padang earthquake. The Padang was a smaller earthquake, but it was a like, how do you call it? A sign for the bigger Palu earthquake. So that opened my mind. Like I thought that things coming from Western should be better, but when I did my research, my literature review, it opened my mind about, like, probably we should have like contending views, alternative views, and using a lot more local knowledge, local resources. So as I said about Gramsci, I reflected on my thesis and I was saying, oh, I got the 0.1% of the aha Gramsci moment. Like, I felt that I think there is something with my thesis. For me, myself, it enlightened me, telling me things that we really, really have to shift the view of the knowing from other people, and probably it's our own community that have the answers. Adaptation, innovation would be good in certain extent, but looking at the community and how the community have been dealing with disaster, living with disaster, it's also a very interesting view. So that that is how I reflect in the overall thesis, beginning with I will not finish my thesis to wow, I learned a lot. And It's because really, it's because of you, Tara.
Oh, it's not, darling. It's because of you. But can I say that is one of the most profound statements of what colonization has done to the planet, what you've just expressed there, and how that colonization has continued through academic capitalism, so that the books that are published, the articles that are published, this particular rendering of trendy terms like resilience, that is losing the tens of thousands of years of knowledges, the ontological knowledges we have of resilience, that didn't happen to use the English language to say that word. And that is what your thesis is doing, Dina. Colleagues, we are doing incredibly well. I will see you next Friday. We're doing Right Club right through Christmas. I adore you all. Lorraine, bring the green hat back. We need the green hat back. You're going to put it on at some point. We need the green. We'll wait for the green hat, right? Is it going to do its thing? Yeah. Okay, so that's what we've got to look forward to, colleagues, for the next couple of weeks. See you on the other side, dear friends. So proud of you. And Vita, you are our life. Thank you for being a legendary human. See you soon. Bye.